standing outside the stable of Paul Nicholls and Bravemansgame, 14 times champion trainer Paul Nicholls, Gold Cup runner-up last year. Has he become the forgotten horse in certain respects? I mean, his form from the Gold Cup last year and in the King George last season is better than a lot of those ahead of him in the betting, isn't it?
I couldn't agree more. And, you know, he hasn't had a bad season this year. He ran very well at Weatherby first time out, got a bit caught out by the ground, probably wasn't as ready as we thought, and he ran a good solid race that day. And I think our mistake before the King George was running him in the Betfair chase, but it's like the owner was keen to go, there was only a small field, it was a valuable price, so we took our chance. And then probably, he ran a good race in the King George. He'd have been first to second, I think, and then he got interfered with. And then he still recovered and finished second.
Yeah, he jumped an awful lot better when he switched to the outside halfway round.
I think we learnt that day. I asked how to go round the inner just because I thought, and he wasn't jumping all that well. And I think he sort of felt a little bit intimidated. And he pulled him wide, he jumped brilliantly. And I think at Cheltenham, like last year, we always had a little bit of room. I think he's a horse who does need a bit of room. But yeah, I mean, like some of those horses are shorter than him in the bed, and I was just smiling at myself and thinking, you know, it's probably ridiculous really, because he's not been given the credit he deserves. He's run some good solid races, but I do know we got him back to his best. I saw him school earlier in the week. He was very good. He looks great. He is good fresh, so that's why you haven't run him since Kempton.
Right, okay, so you're hopeful that he'll put up as good a run as he did last year at least?
I think he will. I mean, the favourite's going to be hard to beat. I think below him there's 3 or 4 horses, Shiskin, Fast or Slow, himself, that probably have got a chance, but I think all 3 of those are going to have to go to beat the favourite on what I've seen of him this season. Right,
okay. Right, we had 2 Grade 1 winners last year, of course, and they're both back again. We'll start with a novice chaser, Stay Away Faye. Now, I'm a bit of a fan of his, because if you could bottle his attitude and put it in every single horse, you'd have loads of winners, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's tough, he stays. He's run well this season, and I think going to Cheltenham the last day, although he didn't win, will stand him in good stead in the fact he jumped around Cheltenham. He's learnt a lot. I know he's come on from that run, and yeah, he's a proper solid horse. What
do you want from him there? I mean, you're going to need a real strong test, aren't you, at the trip? I mean, if it's a small field, would you let him go on?
I wouldn't be afraid to make the running with him. He's probably he's not the most ideal front runner, because he's not what I call a horse who tanks along. He's always a little bit behind the bridle. Last year he always had a little bit of help, someone tow him along, but you'd want to ride him fairly handy. I would say that he made all the running at Sandown, and he looked like turning, jumping the pond fence. He was going to get swallowed up, and he just dug deep and kept galloping. So, you know, the Cheltenham Hill will suit him well. But you'd like a lead, ideally, just because that's just the nature of the beast, really.
Absolutely, absolutely right. So we've got Stage Star now. Stage Star won the Turners last year. He's one of the favourites for the ride now. You've also got Hitman in there as well. I gather you've taken Pictory out today. So it's those 2. Now, Stage Star, obviously one of the favourites. Hitman was 3rd last year at a big price.
And he ran a very good race the other day at Newbury, his prep race, when he was second to Shiskin. And he probably, he'll improve for that. And so I was thrilled with him, and he could run a solid race again. Definitely got an each-way chance. Stage Star is obviously our leading chance. Won the Paddy Power Gold Cup. I probably shouldn't have run him at Christmas, but look, nothing's lost. He's come out of that fine.
He's okay now. There were no injuries or anything like that.
No, he was just a bit stiff for 2 weeks afterwards, and then he's had a good break. And again, he scored last week. He's been working good, so very happy with him.
We've got a talking horse in the bumper, but I gather you're going to run more than one. And you actually quite like the chances of the other one as well. You've got Tishan, who everyone's been talking about, and Quebecois, that most people probably have barely heard of.
Well, Quebecois really, it ran in a point-to-point in Ireland. Actually was second, ran well. Big Baby, he did well, probably finished second at that stage of his career. Tishan then won a point-to-point in the autumn and was like very much a talking horse. Of course, then he went and won nicely, so his reputation was there before he won. But he won very nicely at Exeter, but Quebecois didn't actually do anything differently. But what either of them beat those 2 days, I do not know. I don't think there's a whole heap between them. Tishan's probably more a racehorse at the moment. He's sharper, a bit more. He's more forward probably in Quebecois. He's a little bit like Captain Teague was last year, more a backward horse, but goes nicely. 133 to 1 and 1.6 to 1, and that I'm not sure there's quite as big a gap as that.
Okay, and of course you mentioned Captain Teague there. He's got 2 options. He's got the Albert Bartler and he's got the Bear in Bingham. Where do you see him going?
If it's good to soft ground or slightly better or around about there, I suspect he'll run in the Albert Bartler. I'm sure he's crying out for 3 miles. Like when he won the Challow, all he did was stay. if the ground happened to keep on raining, it was very testing. We have got the option, the Bear and Bingham, but I suspect to run in the 3 mile race. But we will just keep the options open.
If Ballyburn was to run in the 2 mile 5, would you definitely go 3?
Well, I mean, he looks good, but you should never be frightened of one horse, you know. But I do think we're probably, my view, the style of the horse and where he goes, the Albert Bartlett suit him well.
Right, okay. And we haven't talked about your favourite. I mean, you're going to have a favourite for the Turners in Ginny's Destiny, who, I know a lot of people keep saying, well, should have got beat by this horse that day, should have got beat by that horse that day, but he's the one that jumped.
Yeah, and
keeps winning.
I mean, the first day, perhaps, or the second day, he was probably, I'm not saying he's lucky, Dan keeps telling me he would have beat us, but look, he'd have had to gone past him up the hill, probably would have been close, who knows, but I think he definitely took a step forward every time he's run. He's a good, solid jumper, gets them all at it behind him, and gallops strong to the line, so he's probably on form, depending on what's going to run. He looks like he's a solid favourite for the Turners at the moment and what he's achieved.
Definitely, I totally agree with that. I think it'll be close with Great Dawning if he runs there, but he's the one that keeps jumping the fences, isn't he?
Yeah, and you've got to jump, and that's what it's all about around there. And like Stage Star, that was a big plus from last year's jumping in. Hopefully, it'll be the same with Ginny's Destiny.
Right, oh, what have you got for the handicaps? What can we talk about there? Sonny Gino's a horse that interested me.
Sonny Gino, yeah.
He really impressed me at Aintree, and I thought this could be a graded horse, but then what happened to Kempton?
You know, they didn't go that quick. He was a bit keen. And probably he should have been having a little holiday then. He's brilliant fresh, so we've purposely kept him fresh. Whether he goes in the Coral Cup or the Martin Pike would just depend on the weights and one thing and another. He'll get in both races. I don't know why, but I favour the Martin Pike because they probably go quite quick in that, and sometimes that would suit him. He's probably handicapped. He wouldn't be the best handicapped horse in the world. He's probably handicapped to his limit, and he'd probably have just 2 more runs over hurdles now before he goes chasing. But he's not without a chance.
And Liari, you've got Liari now. He's in the Triumph, but he's also in the Boodles.
Yeah, I suspect if we run him in running the Boodle, he's 134 on that. He'd have to, you know, on ratings, you'd want to be expecting him to have to run to £10 higher than that to win the Triumph. He's improving horse. So I think there's a few pound in hand of that handicap mark with a bit of luck. So I suspect he'll run in the Boodles.
Right, okay, that's pretty much the pick of your Cheltenham runners. But I've got to ask you, given that we've got Saturday coming up and it's Newbury and the Greatwood Handicap Chase that you used to win virtually every year. Have you entered anything for it?
I put Outlaw Peter in it and Can Do Kid. Both novices, both.
Can Do Kid's course and distance winner,
yeah,
obviously.
He is, yeah. I put Line for his last run in there when we ran him up at, in the 3 mile race at Doncaster. The name escapes me. Big handicap. It just never happened. He likes Newbury. Just both those horses would like to see it drying up. I mean, that's my... Normally this time, like last year, Newbury, so he was quick, a fast ground. It's a little bit different. But if it dries up, you know, one of those two will run.
Right, and hopes for the end of the season. Championship number 15 and number 1 for Mr. Cobden.
Well, I mean, obviously we're both in the driving seat at the moment. We've got to stay there. Harris had an incredible season, and but you know, a lot can happen between now and the end of the season, obviously. So we've got to keep on it. Same with me, you know. I've got a healthy lead at the moment, but after Cheltenham and Aintree, that can change. So we just got to keep on working hard and trying to train as many winners as we can.
Great, thank you very much, Paul.
Okay.
Champion trainer. Good luck at Cheltenham.
Not at all, Jack.